Man, this park is beautiful. So nice. What's good, YouTube? Your boy 21 here, bringing you with my 3 easy steps on knowing when to take risk and playing your opponent and reading plays. Reading plays is very important in Yu-Gi-Oh because if you don't know how to read plays properly, you're gonna get your shit pushed in by any deck that you play against. I mean, unless you're playing a deck like Mermails or Prophecy where you can easily OTK or control the game state. But eventually down the line, like later in the round, like round 5 or 6, you're gonna need to know when to read certain plays. So my first easy step is always checking your graveyard, your opponent's graveyard, and hand size. But by knowing your graveyard, you know what resources they use up, and you can count where you can only use 3 of certain cards. So if you see 2 in the graveyard, you know the possibility of them having another one in their hand versus how many cards they draw for the turn, how many search, etc. So checking graveyard is very important. Checking hand size is also important because you know based on how many resources they used up. Say for example, I play gadgets, so if I go gadget, 10 goldfish, and like Kage, you know I use up those 3. I'm adding another gadget to my hand. My hand size might be like 3 or 4. I set 1 back row. Back row might be a mirror force, or etc. You know I got a gadget in my hand, so you know there's 2 cards that you're gonna have to worry about, and if I didn't set them, it might be monsters. So little tricks like that can really help you knowing how to read your opponent. My second step to knowing how to read your opponent and knowing when to take risks, like knowing the decks you're playing against and what the average build of that said deck plays. Like, so for example, say I'm in a tournament where I want to go against Fire Fist, and I know someone just recently topped the YCS with Fire Fist running, let's say for example, 3 Coach, Captain Wolfbark, and etc. Since that'll be the average build, I know, okay, what to expect, what their face downs might be, based on the information I gathered from watching a YCS video, watching regional deck profiles, and even going to your local scene, seeing how players play. Because that's another thing. If you're going to a bigger tournament, especially a local tournament, even if it's local YCS, and you know how your area players play, you know how they deck build, you kind of can get a pattern. Okay, more than likely I'm going to play against the type of Fire Fist deck with the 3 Wolf Bargs, the 3 Valor, 3 Max Seeds, based on how my area plays. And you might get someone who completely next decks the average build offline, but by knowing the average build and then know how your area plays, you can kind of combine a theoretical idea of what to see when you're going to the event. So knowing what decks play and the average build is very important for reading plays and reading moves. So you'll know when to take the risk on, when to put pressure on them versus when not to, based on what they have in the field and based on what you know if they play, like a lance or whatever. And my final easy step on how to read plays and knowing when to take risk is knowing staple cards, what the staple cards are in the game. Like for example, staples are Mystical Space Typhoon, Dark Hole, etc. Knowing the ban list and knowing what people are attacking these days. Like for example, I've noticed a lot of my area people are attacking Threatening Roar and like everything because dragons are still a thing. So a lot of players in my area, Chicago, Illinois area, are attacking 1 or 2 Threatening Roars from what I've seen to make sure they don't get OTK'd. So by knowing, like, since that's like a hot tech choice right now, you can go to a tournament and read like, okay, people are attacking Threatening Roar, so let me expect to read a Threatening Roar. Even if you haven't seen a game 1, 2, 3, just make sure going into game 3, like they might have it, they might not have it. You always have to like have the right idea on what they might be playing, because if they're playing like for example like sectors, just because you didn't see the Threatening Roar game 1, 2, or 3, game 1 and 2 don't mean you might not see the 3. So you gotta know those possible tech choices, and then knowing the staple cards are like Dark Hole, Last Format, Heavy Storm, Pot Avarice. If you know that they haven't used those staple cards, and you know there's a possibility they might have them in their deck, you gotta know, okay, do I want to swarm the field right now? Does he have the Dark Hole? Is he gonna rip the Dark Hole? You have to know, because that requires a staple card. Do you want to set your 1 back row knowing he's gonna get MST'd, or do you want to set 2 back row baiting out the MST and hoping your opponent hits the wrong card. It's like little things like that can easily help you read plays. Like, for example, if I go first, set one back row, 9 times out of 10 I'm going to get MST because MST is at 3 and everyone runs through MST. If I don't get MST turn 1, either they didn't open up with it or they only run 2. Usually I've seen when players run 3 MSTs, they always open. 9 times out of 10 they're going to open up with 1. You shuffle your 40 card deck. Some players might stack in the middle, so when you cut, they draw into 1. Or they mean drawing your 6 cards for the going first. It's a good chance that they're going to have that MST, so I like to set 2 cards a lot. Just for bait out the MST and hopefully they hit the other card. They hit the card that I want them to hit and they get their shit pushed in. So following these 3 easy steps, once again, checking the graveyards and hand size, knowing decks and what the average build plays, and knowing staple cards, the ban list, and possible take choices can really help you guys read your opponent's plays, get you out of sticky situations, and make you have an easy time at a YCS. Well guys, this is Yugioh Psychology with your boy 21 on knowing when to take risks and read plays. You guys have a good day. Alright, your boy 21, I'm out.